guns drawn. Heroes, folks. Hey.
Can we
blue line, folks?
Can we all agree now that
thin blue line,
that there is, like, because this happens every time we cover this now. I got to hear fucking 50 people go, yeah, you know, there's a few bad cops, but most of them are pretty cool. No, they're all pieces of shit. I think we need to agree that across the board, they're just a bunch of pieces of shit collecting a paycheck, and they will do anything to you.
I first came across ROTC about 15 months ago. While I didn't agree with a lot of what they said, they did try and present content reasonably, fairly and honestly at that point. Since that time, I think things have slipped a bit. This is a great example. This is Odessa, Texas, a video that they put up some time ago. This video is a couple of months old. Royce has just mentioned that this is a show of force against a single business proprietor who's a bar owner. This is in response to the owner, who, by the way, happened to have quite a few patrons in the bar, and that it has been alleged that they've got word out to local law enforcement and the media that they were going to defy local lockdown laws. They were armed, and they were going to defy these laws to the point of resisting law enforcement. So obviously, this is fairly important information. So ROTC hasn't provided this information. I believe that the reason they haven't provided this information is that it doesn't fit in with the narrative, because this whole piece is meant to talk about how bad cops are.
This to arrest one guy?
Yeah. And also, pre-corona, right? Because now, of course, we're getting all the people. There's a lot of good cops out there. Which ones? These cops?
Then let's use math here for a second. There's one guy in the car. There's one guy on top of the car. So now we have 5 people. So there's 5 people doing this. It's not one rogue cop that's going in. There's 5 cops doing this.
Yeah, where are they at in this video? Because I don't see them. I only see the 5 going in with an AR fucking aimed at a bar owner. Yeah. Come on, man.
Let me just finish off the video. So look, these are the evil. Look at the evil people. Look at the evil people that they're coming to get. Look at that. Look at those evil people. Heroes. Heroes. Folks. And by the way, and I want to say it in before, well, they look like that they're armed. Again, if you're these thin blue line people, you should also be big Second Amendment people. They should be allowed to be armed. They weren't pointing guns at anybody. No. They were at a bar.
So Royce now has an opportunity to acknowledge that there is more than one person there, okay? But he doesn't do that. He points to footage of the other bar patrons and downplays their appearance.
So look, these are the evil. Look at the evil people. Look at the evil people that they're coming to get. Look at that. Look at those evil people.
Around this time, their demeanour does start to change as they're slightly less smug, and they realise that they might have to explain why they downplayed this whole situation initially. So Royce now realises that he has shown the footage of the other bar patrons who appear to be wearing masks. And no, it's not for the coronavirus, because we know that that's the whole part of this, is their defiance of the corona situation. So they're wearing masks and ammo jackets which have bulging pockets. And I'm guessing these bulging pockets aren't full of confectionery or chocolate bars. So Royce probably realising at this point that he's going to get some pushback from the chat about his downplaying of this whole situation. And he tries to get on the front foot. But instead of delivering factual information, he tries to appeal to the low IQ listeners and tries to pass this off as being purely a Second Amendment issue. So this is quite consistent with their departure from presenting information in a factual and clear way.
JP, I'm not condoning this obvious violation of our rights, but it must be said that there were armed men at this peaceful protest, hence the guns being drawn. You mean armed men? But you're allowed to be. See, that's the thing. I knew that was going to come, right? You're allowed to be armed. If you are not pointing the gun or threatening anybody, it doesn't mean you get a gun pointed at you. Am I wrong? Is that not how it works? Anthony says, did they make any threats? Anthony says, they treated the bar owner like he was Branch Davidin, minus the fire.
Royce butchered that language. They mentioned Branch David, and obviously they're referring to Branch Davidian, which gets back to David Koresh and Waco and all that sort of stuff. So someone in the chat is trying to alert Royce to the fact that, well, maybe this is Texas, and maybe they've got some specific rules of engagement when it comes to if they hear about armed defiance of law enforcement, that maybe they go in heavy because they don't want another Waco situation. Royce doesn't pick up on that, no matter how many people try and alert him to that. But of course, ROTC is not going to mention that because it doesn't fit with their narrative of keeping in with the fact that all police are bad, which we know is not the case.
I've been proved wrong. I'll admit it. I've been proven wrong. I have shown that this is not as these people. Look. I don't want to. If these videos weren't coming in,
I'm tired of hearing your cognitive dissonance. You got these conflicting firmware in your head.
I don't understand this. I don't get it. Here's a good example. You inconsistent fags, warlords, shut the fuck up, you cowards, roll over and die, just like the fantasy of never being rolled over by false narratives to quell our desires to be free. You're in a chat room arguing with our fat asses.
On a YouTube comedy show.
Now, this is the next thing they've graduated to. As always, they speak in a very combative and aggressive way to the fans, usually intended to demean and belittle them. But when the chat responds in a similar way, or they respond in kind and push back, they always deflect in a very cowardly way, in my opinion, to a defensive position and say that, hang on, we're just a comedy show. Then they punch the air and claim victory as they raucously laugh amongst themselves. So this is strange and very frustrating to the fans, because it's obvious that there are times when they're doing comedy, and there are other times when they're just providing a commentary, like they are in this instance. They're providing commentary on the police and giving their opinion that the police are all bad people. Okay, this is not a comedy bit. This is a piece of commentary. However, when the chat or the fans push back, they'll run to this defensive position. But ROTC hide behind that when challenged, and it is very disingenuous to the listeners. If Crowder or any of their targets did this, ROTC would rip on them mercilessly.
Sorry, I'm really sorry here, Serpico.
Fucking fantasy in your mind. It's a fucking fantasy. I know you like to jerk off to the thought of being a fucking tough guy.
And you know what? Maybe we are inconsistent. Maybe we are. Maybe our views change.
You're retarded. I'd be embarrassed to be you.
Yeah.
Come on, man.
That's the thing that I don't